Good evening. It's been a wonderful Passover. It's been a wonderful season of great change. There's been an enormous opportunity for finding ourselves and doing new things and working to identify how we will emerge after this season that we've gone through. So I wanted to just kind of talk to you a little bit, and I'm thinking about what this would be called, but I'm gonna just start talking, and I hope that you find nuggets, things in here. Let's treat this like a mystery, like a treasure hunt at this time. And I want you to really listen and get your notebooks and get your pens and your journals and really take this time to dissect. We know a lot of times when we are receiving things from Spirit, from the Holy Spirit, from the spirit realm, it's in part and pieces. And so it's up to us to seek a thing out. It's up to us to seek for that information. So I want to talk about, as we're moving into this next season, coming out of this Passover, as we're transitioning in the earth, we have so many things that we are continuing to experience, and we will continue to experience. I want to talk about new contracts and new payments. Those new contracts and those new payments are us using the gift of the prophet, the gift of our mouth, the prophet that's on the inside of us individually. Whenever I'm speaking to you, I don't want you to think about somebody outside of you as a prophet or a speaker or a king or a great person. I want you to internalize the information and see yourself as the mouthpiece of God, as the person that God wants to use in this next dispensation to make a great impact on the earth. So there are new contracts, right? Because out of the heavens, out of the eternity, there is a contracting, a moving about that is taking place that causes something to be birthed. So there are new contracts, contractions, and new payments. And in this time, you have to decide if you're going to become a superpower in this next era. Who can God bless that will be used to create wealth in local communities? Will that be you? And if so, what wonderful, innovative ideas are you receiving downloads on at this time, or that you've always had present, but the opportunity, the environment was not set in a way that would allow you to birth the thing that you were given? Well, guess what? It's time for new contracts. Contracts create economy. Contracts create currency. Contracts create opportunities. Contracts create business. I want you to think about that. And then secondly, I want you to think about new sound and noises that will continually give us direction and instruction. Yes, the frequency has changed again. And what I perceive is that frequency is going to continue to change. And you're going to have to stay tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and relevant at all times in order to understand where we are moving. You're going to have to stay in the flow of things in order to understand where we are moving, because things are going to move fairly quickly. And so we're not going to be able to get comfortable in the season. We're going to have to stay with our ears listening and attentive, which means that we have to spend time in the presence of God, receiving information and being one with ourselves so that we are always available for that information to download to us, for it to get to us, for us to be inspired in order for us to create. There's new construction, and that new construction is a requirement where we're going to have to use some of the modern technology that we do not become so afraid of it that we don't know how to leverage it in the opportunities that we need in order to create. There are some things we're going to have to leverage. And so some of those new technologies is in the way that we're engaging with God. Some of that is in the way that we're spending time individually in the presence. Some of that new technology is actually technology itself. Some of that new technology is in our new dimensions of communication. We are in a place where new things are going to continue to unfold for us, and we are responsible for how we use the information that we're receiving. I mentioned to you we were in a census. I've said a lot of things over time. If you haven't listened to some things that we've posted, please go back and listen. It's so much in them, you're going to have to unpack it. Now, there's this 12 years of collapse of social and political systems, and sometimes it takes that long for the old thing to come down fully and the new thing to arise and come up. But we know the number of 12 is a biblical, it is a spiritual, it is a powerful number, and that's up to you to seek out. I'm not going to give you all of that. And I want to say to you, knowing is better than believing. We are in a season where you must know. You have to know what God is saying. You have to be in the presence of God, and you must know. If you continue to live your life just simply believing, that means that you are not thinking and you're not using the full capacity of your mind to gain an understanding. Knowing is better than believing. What you do know for sure is going to be critical on how you move about in this new era, this new season, this next dispensation, this next decade. You have to know some things for sure. And what evidence will you use? How do you use what you know? So sometimes we have paradigms that are still caving, that have to be broken down. We got to break those down. We got to crush many of them in order to be open. We're going to have to destroy some of that so that when we gain evidence, we know how to use that evidence, and it's not being filtered through obsolete patterns that we've set up in the past. We're going to have to develop new patterns and new ways of thinking. Information and knowledge are going to be key. And we know that right now everything is being tracked. However, unity and oneness is going to be necessary for us. Conscious acceptance of the connectedness that we all possess by way of the Spirit, us learning to elevate our minds in such a way that we remain connected. There are many times I can be sitting and pick up certain people in the Spirit and know, oh, they need me to pray, or I need to encourage this person, or maybe I should text this one, or this is going on. We're going to have to be more connected in the Spirit so that we know what's going on in our atmospheres. It's important for us to form communities and be able to encourage and continue to speak life to one another so that we maintain a frequency of love and a frequency of joy and one of peace, and that we understand where we have need and that we meet those needs so that there is no lack in our communities. So our communities, we know, are just our families, it's our prayer groups, it's our work groups. We got many communities that we are integrated into. Figure out what your role and your responsibility is to that community, and be the best that you can be in that particular role. And maybe your role, it won't be the same in every community. You may have a different role in another community than the one you have with your immediate family members. So think through that process, moving towards understanding one another's differences. We're in a season where we're really going to have to understand that and not be so judgmental. We're going to need one another like we've never needed each other before as we continue to move into this new era. So think about that. Think about new economic paradigms. Where do you think we're going? What do you think about the new political paradigms? How do you think that things will emerge and arise? Start some group chats about talking about it and seeing where other people's minds are and what they're hearing. New traveling paradigms, they're going to arise. New medical paradigms, they're going to arise. Where do you think we're going? And guess what? Every single person who's listening has the power to influence those new paradigms, because we have the power to create. And I've talked about this before. But get amongst your peers, amongst your family, and talk about these new things that are coming and how you would like for these things to come and be good. Now, listen, there's always going to be polarity. There's always going to be what we call good and evil. There's always going to be these things amongst us because the reality is sometimes those things are necessary. I know you're going, what do you mean it's necessary? But you already know that sometimes when someone challenges you, although you don't like confrontation, it forces you to grow. COVID-19 is forcing us to evolve in ways because we've been stagnant, not just as people, but as a society, as a government, as a world. We've put off certain things that were important and we were not being responsible in many areas. And as you can see, those things are starting to crumble. So sometimes when difficulties arise, tests and trials come to make us strong. Different things pop up into our lives at different times. It is to test. It is to create a strength in us that we don't realize that we have. Getting rid of toxicity in your life is going to be important, not just in your life, but in your bodies, in your way we eat, in the way that we drink, the things, making sure we have plenty of water, all of this stuff, right? And we're going to have to learn to work more with good energies, right? Keeping ourselves in a grateful place, being mindful of our attitudes, being mindful of the things that we allow to come out of our mouth, recognizing that that came from us and we sent that into the universe. And that word is toxic. And so we just littered our environment with our words. Let's be mindful that we are not adding to the problem. And I want you to think hard on how to become invisible. I had a dream, and in the dream, I was able to become invisible. And I was able to escape some people that were coming after me. They realized that I had the ability to see their plot and see the evil and the plan that they were up to. And at first, they wanted me to work with them. But then when they realized that I could see beyond the facade that they had, beyond this cloaked environment that they were trying to keep everybody else from seeing, when they brought me into the environment, I was able to see through it. And so they said they had to get rid of me. And so they put me out to be destroyed. They were trying to get me to get destroyed because they put me in a violent environment. And when they put me in that environment, I was able to recognize other people in the spirit who were like me, and I was able to connect with those people. And we all became invisible and we were able to escape the destruction. There's a lot in that dream because many of us are concerned about all the stuff that's going to come that may challenge our will, our freedoms, our freedom of speech, our freedom of choice, things that may impact us against our will. So spiritually speaking, what is it? What does it mean to be able to become invisible? Wonder what that means. How are we able to put up shields in the spirit or put up shields in the physical and shields in the natural so that we are not traceable, so that our energy is not traceable? A lot of times when I operate in the prophetic ministry, a lot of that comes by energy. People send out signals. People give off. People talk without talking. They don't realize they're doing it. But a lot of times people who are prophetically trained, we can hear you when you're not speaking. Because we all have energy. We all have a spirit. We all have a frequency. We all make noise and we don't know that we're making noise. So what is it about our lives that's out of order? What is it about our way of thinking? What is it about our processes, the way that we live, where we're so noisy in the spirit that we're easily traceable? And that if somebody came in and we were trying to hide in the spirit, they would find you because you got so much chaos, so much anxiety, so much frustration, so much bitterness, unforgiveness, all these different things. And then on top of that, we lack discipline in certain areas. We refuse to do certain things no matter what. So what do you think? While we're able to be moving about, are we still able to hide in the secret place of the Most High God under the shadow of the Almighty? Just under the shadow. We're having to learn how to go within and cloak, go within ourselves. It's about going in. So I think that there are a lot of things that we still yet have to think about. There are varying ways of lockdown that I believe are going to come. I think it's going to be on and off, and it's going to create a state of panic. But we don't have to panic if we're already aware. We can prepare ourselves. We're going to have to learn how to think on our feet. We're going to have to be light on our feet. Meaning that some of this stuff that we think is important, a lot of this material things that we think are important, we're going to have to be able to shake that. There are going to be many shifts going on. It'll appear as if things are getting better, and then they may not be. It doesn't mean they're going to get extremely worse, but I think there'll be problems arising, and we should become the best problem solvers in the world. We should possess the keys in this hour. Community and tribes are needed. People knowing who you are and where you are and what's going on with you and being connected with a group of people. If you have a small family or you're in a city where you don't know a lot of people, you need a tribe. Even if your tribe is in another city, you need to be connected. This disappearing that people do, this lack of communication, if you know someone and they're introverted, you're going to have to keep up with that person. We're going to need that. There'll be technology advancement in the next 4 years that will wow us. It's going to blow us away. You know why? Because they've already been working on it. They've already been perfecting a lot of things. A lot of the things we see in the movies. It's already real. It's already available. And we have to learn to travel in the spirit. And I know for some of you that just scared you, that's just way beyond what you're normally used to hearing. But you're going to have to be able to be in the spirit realm and know things and see things. We're going to have to wake up our multidimensional systems and senses that we are capable of operating in, but we have so depended on pastors and leaders and evangelists and everybody to lead us to the place of God. Please lead me to the water so that I can drink. Please show me how to do this. Please do this for me, pastor, prayer warrior. Listen, you're going to have to learn these things. We're going to have to develop in places we've not wanted to develop in. We no longer have excuses. And we're going to have to develop our own potential. We're going to have to grow our gifts. We're going to have to grow and develop in our personal way of expression and our differentiation. It's time for us to show our light. You're going to have to show your light. You're going to have to show your life. And you're going to have to be responsible to, not for, but to others. You're going to have to learn different languages. Maybe you're a person that you pick up languages very easily. And so you may have to be that person in the group that becomes the interpreter, the person that can speak across languages and races and all of these different things. This may be something that's good. You may have to learn sign language and code words and other ways to communicate that we haven't used before. What is God trying to teach us? What is trying to unfold in our lifetime? These are just ideas. There are multiple things that are going on. And the new system doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be equal in the new system, but there are levels of equitableness. Equitability is important. And we got to stop looking at historical boxes. We have to now gain fresh perspective and ideas. What's our brand? What is your individual brand? You need a new brand. You know, everybody's been supporting all the other brands out there, but you create your own brand. You're going to have to create medical solutions for your life. You need your own health plan. Your health plan has to be based on the way you eat, the way you work, your breathing, taking time to exercise and stretch. You're going to need to create a place in your house as a healing center where you can go and rejuvenate yourself. You might be listening to your best worship or your best jazz music or your best blues music, whatever that is that stimulates you. It may be all acoustical music, no words. Maybe it's a symphony playing Bach, and that really does something for you. And it causes your energy to rise. It causes you to get in the presence of God. It causes you to think more clearly and more freely. We need blueprints, emotional blueprints. We need herbal blueprints. We need spiritual blueprints. We need emotional blueprints. We need new ways. New ways. Because there are a lot of old systems that will not be needed anymore. There will be a lot of old systems that will not be needed anymore. And if we're so connected to the old, we will get missed. We will be passed over. We will get passed over. We will get left on the other side of the Jordan because we don't know how to cross over into the land flowing with milk and honey. We won't understand how to move to that next dimension. And so those that can't move, can't change, die. You don't want to get left behind in that way. We're going to have to learn to develop our minds more. We need greater mind focus. And we need to be in our mind and our heart alignment in new ways and in new levels. I believe doors are going to be open. I think we're going to create the doors. I think we're going to build new windows. I think inside of a door, there's another door. We will create ways, but we have to want to create life for ourselves. We have to want to create life for ourselves. We are in a time of retreat, and it is a time to be creative. Our perception has to be how to create a new world and a new life. And we have to respond in this season. We have to be responsive in this season. No longer can we sit by. Many of the things that we have seen, done, and adopted, they're gone. What are we going to emerge as? How do we get involved in this new world and we build the world that we want for our individual lives, our individual communities, our global communities? Don't just think about yourself, but if you could do something over, if you could restructure the government, what would it look like? If you could change the way we worship, what would that look like? If you could change something about family structure, what would that look like? If you could change the penal system, what would that look like? Begin to use your words and your power and the love that is on the inside of you to begin thinking about the paradigm that you would like to see emerge. Think about the world with us all loving one another, helping one another, building a great world, feeding the hungry, taking care of those that need our help and assistance, stopping sexual trafficking, and all of these things. What would we do if it was just up to you? If you had all the power in the world, what would you do? Guess what? You do have all the power in the world. You have all the power within yourself to influence the people around you. You have all the power in yourself to be a light. You got all the power in yourself to make a difference. If you just make a difference with you and then you make a difference with one, then that person can make a difference. We are in a season where we must empower one another. We have to empower one another. We have to emerge. Everyone always talks about rights, but we have responsibilities to do. It's not okay for us to talk. It's important for us to also do. I just want to encourage you. I know there is a dream. There is treasure inside of you. There is treasure. We have an opportunity to live our lives above circumstance, above pandemics, above situations. We have an opportunity that while systems are collapsing, we can live above and prepare for our next. Take time every day planning for your new life. Every day. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Some people will use 30 minutes to an hour. Some will use 1 minute, 2 minutes. Meditate on that. Send your love to it. Send your love to your family every day, to your friends, to your coworkers. Send your love out. Let's live life above. Let's create heaven right here on earth. I challenge you to figure out what it is you could do. And do it. And just do it. I love you so much. This is Francina, just sharing my thoughts with you as usual, wanting us to start thinking about life above. What's our plan for our future? I think that might be the title. Planning for our future, or speaking from the future. Speaking from the future. Because this is where I believe we will be. Now, all the little nuances, can't tell you just yet. But as I get waves of information, I will share as always. What I'm asking you for is to be committed to taking the time to dissect this information. Promise me that you will take the time to do the homework, because it makes a difference in your life and it also makes a difference in our lives. All of us that are in your community are counting on you. I love you so very much. This is Francina, servant, transformational leader, apostle, spokeswoman, cheerleader, and encourager. I'm here and I am excited, you guys. I am not afraid. I am excited about what I believe the Spirit of the living Most High God can do through my life to impact the earth. I hope you get excited with me and you jump on board and you get busy with whatever it is that you know that you're capable of doing. God bless you.